Happy New Year and welcome to episode 17 of Fourth and Inches. Unfortunately, it has been a great year, but good things must come to an end. This will be the last and final episode of Fourth and Inches for this season. Don't worry, folks. We'll be back next season, though, to bring you the hottest sports takes as far as the NFL is concerned. Hope everyone out there had a great New Year, great New Year's Eve, great New Year's Day. There's been a lot of great college football games on. Bowl game season is in full effect. National championship here coming up soon. It will be Alabama against Clemson, who each respectively dominated their opponent on New Year's Eve. So that's something to look out for. That should be a great game. Over the New Year holiday, I was actually in Philadelphia with another member of Fourth and Inches, Jordan D'Souza. Me and my friend Alex traveled to Philadelphia, spent, I think, 3 days there. We stayed at Jordan's house, got to see the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. That's where he's from. Had a good time. Attended a nice festive party on New Year's Eve with Jordan and his group of local friends. And then on New Year's Day, we had the pleasure of attending Eagles-Cowboys game at Lincoln Financial Field. It was a good experience for me personally. Being a Cowboys fan, I love watching them play whenever I can, obviously. And I love going to new stadiums. That was the first time I've been to the Eagles Stadium. And so it was a great experience. You know, I was cussed at and insulted by Philadelphia fans every way I turned. But hey, at least I didn't get beat up, so I would consider it a moral victory. Unfortunately, the Cowboys ended up losing that game, and I had to watch Mark Sanchez play a half of football. But what are you going to do? You know, it's week 17. They already had the 1 seed locked up. So it was a meaningless game, as was most of the games played last Sunday. But we're still here. We got one more episode to go. So let's break it down. And now it's time for the week 17 rapid recap. Kicking things off, we had Cowboys at the Eagles. Eagles won this one by a score of 27-13. Zach Ertz had himself a day, 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ravens at Bengals. Bengals win this one by a score of 27-10. Rex Burkhead, 119 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Texans at Titans. Titans win this one by a score of 24-17. Derrick Henry, 65 yards on the ground and a score. Panthers at Buccaneers. Bucks win this one 17-16. Adam Humphries, 10 receptions, 94 yards. Jaguars at Colts. Colts won this one by a score of 24-20. Andrew Luck had himself a day, 321 yards, 2 scores. Patriots at Dolphins. Patriots secure the best record in the league by winning this one 35-14. Tom Brady, 276 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns. Bears at Vikings. Vikings win this one by a score of 38-10. Sam Bradford, 250 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns. Bills at Jets. Jets win this one by a score of 30-10. Bilal Powell added a nice 122 yards on the ground. With Matt Forte aging, Powell will be a nice asset moving forward for the Jets, as he had somewhat of a breakout year. Browns at Steelers. Steelers won this one in overtime by a score of 27-24 behind the arm of backup Landry Jones, 277 yards and 3 touchdowns. Saints at Falcons. Falcons won this shootout 38-32 behind their high-powered offense, but Drew Brees had himself a day. Brees had 350 yards and 2 touchdowns. Giants at Redskins. Redskins had to have this one in order to possibly make the playoffs. They didn't get it. Giants won this one by a score of 19-10. Paul Perkins added 102 yards on the ground. Cardinals at Rams. Cardinals won this one in some blowout fashion, 44-6. Carson Palmer had 255 yards and 3 touchdowns. David Johnson had a scary injury in this one, but it turns out we think he'll be okay. Raiders at Broncos. Broncos won this one by a score of 24-6. Trevor Siemian, 206 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chiefs at Chargers. Chiefs won this one by a score of 37-27. Phillip Rivers, however, had 269 yards and 2 touchdowns. Chiefs win was big there. Seahawks at 49ers. Hawks win this one 25-23. Russell Wilson, 258 yards, 1 touchdown. And in the nightcap, we had the Packers at the Lions. Packers won this one by a score of 31-24. Rodgers, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no picks. Green Bay offense is extremely hot right now, including that man, Aaron Rodgers. And that's your Week 17 rapid recap. It is the best yet worst time of the year. Playoff football is the best football, but it's also depressing that majority of the NFL teams we will not see play until September. Only 12 teams remain, and only one will be standing by the end of early February. So let's take a look at a few storylines here as this 2016 season wrapped itself up. Sam Bradford now holds the record for single season completion percentage at 71.6%. Truly amazing considering the Vikings offense was pretty horrible this year. I think that record, however, is a little bit misleading because the Vikings offense did not move the ball very well. A lot of short passes there. They didn't really air it out deep. So I think that record's a little misleading. But anyways, congratulations to Sam Bradford. It'll be interesting to see what the Vikings do next season if Bridgewater is healthy. He had a horrible knee injury before the season started in 2016. So it'll be interesting to see what direction they go with 2017. Also, the playoff picture had a slight shakeup before all the games were concluded on New Year's Day. Because the Chiefs won and the Raiders lost, they both finished the season at 12-4. But because the Chiefs own the tiebreaker, they leapfrog all the way back up to the 2 seed, which is huge for Kansas City. Now, the playoffs will go through them unless they play New England in the conference game. Then they would have to travel to New England. But the divisional round will go through Kansas City. And for the Raiders, it's just when it rains, it pours. Derek Carr broke his leg last week in Week 16. Then this week, backup Matt McGloin was injured. And now for the wild card game, they weren't even supposed to be playing a wild card game 2 weeks ago. They were cruising in competition for the 1 seed, and now they're the 5th seed without their starting quarterback. Actually, they're on their 3rd string quarterback because McGloin is hurt. So rookie Connor Cook will get the start against Houston in what figures to be a pretty ugly game. Brock Osweiler will be starting for Houston because of the Tom Savage injury. Tom Savage has been starting the past couple games, but he is hurt. So we have technically 2 quarterbacks that are not official starters at this moment in time. So Raiders-Texans will probably be the ugliest game of the weekend, in my opinion. I'm going to have to go Texans in this one. Their defense is number 1 in the league, and I think rookie Connor Cook will have a tough time solving that defense. I think it'll be a very ugly, low-scoring game, something like 9-3, maybe 12-3, something like that. This game intrigues me, though. Moving on here. Dolphins at the Steelers. Steelers are hot. They've won 7 in a row, I believe, which is no small feat. But so are the Dolphins. The Dolphins under Adam Gase really turned things around, finishing the year at 10-6, making the playoffs. So that's a huge victory for the Miami organization. Before the season started, I don't think many people saw them making the playoffs. They'll look to ride the hot hand of Jay Ajayi. It's looking like Ryan Tannehill will not be able to go. However, in his absence, Matt Moore has been pretty good. They got smacked by the Patriots last week, but in the past few games he's played, he's put up respectable numbers. And against the Steelers defense that is not too good, he should be able to put up some points. So look for that to be a pretty high-scoring game. Maybe both scores in the 20s. The Dolphins will look to ride the hot hand of Jay Ajayi. He's been on fire lately, recently running for over 200 yards against the Bills just 2 games ago. Ben Roethlisberger will probably have his way with the Miami defense, but they do have a ferocious defensive line, so if they can create some pressure, it could be an interesting matchup there. Moving forward to the NFC side of things, the Lions will go to the Seahawks. The Seahawks play very well at home. Seattle's a tough place to play, but the injury to Tyler Lockett does remove some explosiveness from their offense that has been hit or miss this year. The Lions are hoping it's on the miss side of things. But I just think Seattle defense will be way too much for Matt Stafford and the one-dimensional Detroit offense. Detroit has no running game to speak of, and Seattle should have their way with this one. I'm predicting a pretty easy victory for Seattle here. Moving on to the most entertaining game of the weekend by far, in my opinion, Giants at Packers. Packers are the hottest team in the NFL. Rodgers is absolutely on fire. I think the Giants defense will present a unique challenge. They're one of the best defenses in the league. Ferocious pass rush, great secondary. So we'll see how Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay handles that, because they are pretty one-dimensional. They don't run the ball very well. And on the flip side, Packers defense is horrible, but so is the Giants offense. So some interesting matchups in this one. That offense, the Packers offense versus the Giants defense, will definitely be something to look out for. I do think the Packers squeak it out in a close one, maybe 28-24, something along those lines. So look for the Packers to advance to the next round. To keep things going here, I'm going to do a playoff prediction for the next round as well. So here we go. So based on what I just predicted, we have the Texans winning over the Raiders. We have the Steelers winning over the Dolphins, Seahawks over the Lions, and the Packers over the Giants. Which would mean the Patriots would play the Texans in the next round. The Chiefs would play the Steelers. The Cowboys would play the Packers. And the Falcons would play the Seahawks. Obviously, most people, I think, would agree the Patriots are going to beat whoever they play in the first round. Patriots would handle the Texans with ease. Chiefs-Steelers would be a hell of a game. I think I'm going to give the edge to the Chiefs, though. They're just a dangerous team right now. Got a great defense. The offense has been looking explosive over the past few weeks. I think they have enough to handle Big Ben and the Steelers. Brings us to Cowboys-Packers. I think Cowboys get their revenge from that loss in 2014, the controversial Dez catch drop. I think the Cowboys get their revenge, control time of possession, and just march the ball on that horrible Green Bay defense and get enough stops to prevent Aaron Rodgers from throwing 8 touchdowns. So I think the Cowboys take care of business there. Falcons-Seahawks is an intriguing matchup. They played earlier on in the year, and the Seahawks won narrowly. There was a Julio Jones missed pass interference call late in the game that could have changed the game. And I think the Falcons actually match up pretty well. They're a very good passing team, just very explosive offensively. Vertical threats all over the field. And without Earl Thomas, I think Seattle's defense is a little bit susceptible to the deep bomb. So I actually like the Falcons to beat them. Which brings us a Cowboys-Falcons NFC Championship and a Patriots-Chiefs NFC Championship, which would be the 1 and 2 seed on both sides. I think Cowboys beat the Falcons, and I think Patriots beat the Chiefs, which would set up a Cowboys-Patriots Super Bowl, in which, unfortunately, I think the Patriots win because I think the Cowboys would get out-coached, and, it's pretty tough to beat Tom Brady. Those are just my predictions, though. This is football. Anything can happen any given Sunday, or Saturday in this case, for the wild card round. So, it's the best time of year, playoff football. A lot of different storylines circulating. A lot of different teams looking to get their shot. Everyone wants a ring. Tom Brady chasing his 5th, which is crazy. Seems like the Patriots are always in the thick of things. They're just utter dominance over the past decade. So it'd be nice to see someone else win the Super Bowl other than the Patriots. Sorry, Christian. Obviously, I'm pulling for my Cowboys to win a Super Bowl. That would be outstanding. I have not seen one in my lifetime. They do have 5, but their last one being in 95. I was born in 97, so I have yet to see one. That would be pretty cool. Or, maybe a team that hasn't had much success recently, like the Dolphins or the Raiders or the Chiefs. Anyone, just someone different. It'd be interesting for sure. That's a great thing about the NFL is, think about this, the two Super Bowl teams from last year, Denver and Carolina, aren't even in the playoffs this year. I believe the last time that happened was 2003, so it doesn't happen very often. But one great thing about the NFL and compared to other sports is there's so much turnaround other than the Patriots. I mean, good teams can become bad teams can become good from year to year. It's not like the NBA where the Cavs and the Warriors have been the most dominant teams for the past 4 years, and no one else is even close. That's why football is a great game. Everyone has a chance when they strap it up and step on the field. So we will look to see some very exciting playoff matchups upcoming here in the month of January, and we look forward to it as football fans. Absolutely. I think that just about does it for the final episode here of 4th and Inches. I'm your anchor, Nate Smith. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you guys next year.